Okay. Good evening. It is 7:02 p.m. The Board of Trustees of the Porte Independent School District is now convened. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. Every student's success is our number one priority. As the Porte ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting. Board members may not respond to the public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. Thank you for taking time this evening to join us and for your interest in the LaPorte Independent School District. At this time, will you stand for the pledge, please?
Board, march, left, left, right, right, left, left, one time, march, left, left, color guard, halt, left, face, colors.
Okay, will you join me with the pledge to the United States flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Order, colors, colors, post. Ready, seat. Present, arms. Order, arms. Center, face. Mark time, march. Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right. Left, right. Forward, march. Left, 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 right. Right, left, 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 right.
The presentation of colors were presented by Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Kayla Ludwig and Cadet Sergeant Aiden Trant. Now, will you join me? Invocation will be given tonight by Danny Hanks, Board Trustee.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together and request your presence here this evening. As we begin tonight, we thank you for your protection last week in Deer Park. As it is only by your grace, no one was hurt. Continue to be with our neighbors as they rebuild and grant them comfort in their struggles. As you did for them last week, we ask that you too offer a shroud of protection on our students and our teachers and our parents, and that you keep them healthy and safe. Finally, Lord, we ask that you grant everyone in this room wisdom and grace and keep us fully focused on those you have entrusted to our care. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Okay, tonight we'll go to item 5, board recognition. A, performance by Bayshore Elementary students. Mr. Holland?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's entertainment is brought to you by Bayshore Elementary first graders and under the direction of Sarah Vargo, and they're going to perform for us, You've Got a Friend in Me.
Do we need, Andrew, you come down there? Okay. Board, Joel, come down. Yeah, come down.
I went to my spot.
Are you going to sing?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bayshore Elementary first graders, let's give them another round. Can we get a picture of the board with these students? Good job. Moving on in our student recognitions for the month. As part of the district's focus on literacy, Porte ISD this school year began participating in the Bean Stack program. It's very popular nationwide. This program encourages students to read the books of their choice And as a district, students have so far combined to read several 100,000 minutes.
Wow.
Dr. Upchurch, what is the goal?
1 million minutes by the end of May.
Okay, so we've got a lot of War and Peace readers out there. We're going to need it. We're here tonight to honor all of these students, but we wanted to honor the 2 top readers so far in our district in this program. And first, we want to welcome up Bayshore 4th grader Damian Scott. So Damian, and this was at press time. I'm sure we're probably 10 more books by now, but Damian has thus far read 41 books for a total of 8,046 minutes. Next, Lomax 7th grader, and forgive me if I butcher the name here, Ruggiero Imlet. Well, either way, this is pretty impressive too. He's the top secondary reader in Porte ISD, having read 4 books and a total of 4,940 minutes thus far in the Beanstack Reading Challenge. Congratulations. Yeah, that is a lot of minutes for sure. Moving on to our staff recognitions for the month. This week is National School Counseling Week. Actually, and maybe you've seen it on our social media channels, February 6th through the 10th is National School Counseling Week, and it's really to focus attention on the unique contribution of school counselors within the U.S. school systems in the past few years have totally redefined their roles, and you've never been more important than you are now. Tonight, we recognize Porte ISD's wonderful counselors and highlights the tremendous impact they have in helping our students achieve school success, plan for a career, and with social and emotional support. And it looks like there's going to be some sweet stuff up here too. So let's begin with our elementary counselors. And first, from Bayshore Elementary, Miss Cindy Martin. From College Park Elementary, we want to recognize Joshua Rutherford. From Heritage Elementary, Hillary McClellan. LaPorte Elementary's counselor, Diana Horelka. From Lomax Elementary School, Amber Ziegler. So is that the strawberry one or? From Jenny Reed Elementary School, Danielle Knight.
Put that chocolate one in the left hand.
And from Rizzuto Elementary School, Melissa Mansfield. Kim, if you'll get a picture of our elementary counselors. Awesome. Thank you for all that you do. Moving on to secondary. First, we want to recognize from James H. Baker 6th grade campus, Lacey Rodriguez. And I believe that there may well be a gluten-free cake up here for Miss Jennifer Mushweck, the counselor at LaPorte Junior High School. We marked it so that we wouldn't. If anybody doesn't want their cake? Jill Howells, yours is not gluten-free. Lomax Junior High, Jill Howells. From the Academy of Viola DeWalt High School, Stephanie Stevenson. And from LaPorte High School, lead counselor Robin Galvan. Also from LaPorte High School, April Hawthorne. LaPorte High School, Esther Norton. No cake for Esther. She wanted me to have it. But there is cake for Miss LaGreta Arrington if she was able to get here. LaPorte High School counselor Brenda Sadler. LaPorte High School counselor Jennifer Cummings. Aaron Cameron Webb, crisis counselor. And finally, our Social Emotional Learning and Student Wellness Coordinator. That's such a long title, I had to read it. Miss Jancy Alfaro.
Okay, counselors, can I get y'all that took about 2 steps this way so I can hurry up 40 on the clock? Some of y'all frown. Trying each other? Don't put on your. Okay. All right. Everybody was display. We're done.
Thank you, councilors. And councilors, all of you, if you could, wouldn't mind convening out in the foyer. I believe we wanted a group shot of K through 12. Are we And now I'm going to hand the microphone over to Terry Cook. She is our Partners in Education Coordinator for LaPorte ISD. She has a couple of recognitions that she would like to present.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I have the pleasure of recognizing two Partners of the Month who have made noteworthy contributions to our district. LaPorte Rail and Terminal, Inc. has been a supporter of the LaPorte Education Foundation for several years, participating in Breakfast with the Stars and as well as the Foundation Golf Tournament. It was in fact at the breakfast this year that they learned about a grant proposal for a virtual patient simulator that our Health Occupations Department had asked for. The company generously offered to fund the special grant to purchase the virtual patient simulation program and a display table to go with it, with a donation of $21,435. And as Charlotte Penny could attest to, this is the sort of thing that is just wonderful when our industries get together with our teachers at Breakfast with the Stars, and magic happens. This was wonderful. Tonight, LaPorte Rail and Terminal is represented by Alex Achor and John France. Please help me thank them for their generosity and their support of the program.
One has to go, both have to go. That's your money. Thank you, sir. Very well. Very well. Very well. We're happy to do this.
That's really awesome. Okay, oh, wait. Ford, I might have to get y'all to card to get on the other side of it. There we go, that works, all right. Okay, look this way. All right,
Okay, our next honoree is Frank Nance of Frank Nance State Farm. And Frank is a familiar face to many of y'all because he's very, very involved in our district. He is a 1983 graduate of LaPorte High School who returned to our community to live and work and help make LaPorte a better place. A longtime member of the LaPorte Education Foundation, he is a past president and supports the foundation in many ways. He's on several different committees and well, just too many to mention. He's very, very involved. In fact, in addition, Frank is a past president and active member of the LaPorte Rotary Club, through which he initiated the Early Act Club at Jenny Reed Elementary School. That's a service organization like Rotary, that's sponsored by Rotary, and this is our first one in LaPorte ISD. Working with Chamber President Jeff Martin and Superintendent Walter Jackson, Frank also established the HELP Mentoring Program, Help Empower LaPorte Students, in 2022. And a lot of people in this room serve as mentors at our elementary schools through that program. As a result of his many contributions to the community, Frank has also been recognized as the Chamber's 2022 Volunteer of the Year. Please join me in thanking Frank for all that he does for our school district. Thank you, Frank. We appreciate all that you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just, back to the student recognitions real quick. We've got word on why the Lomax Junior High student was unable to be here to accept his certificate, and Dr. Cade Griffin, principal, is going to tell us real quick.
So he wasn't here because today we had our UIL 1 Act competition over in Dickinson, and we just found out that they're advancing to regionals. So he was fantastic. The show is great. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. If you want to go check out the show, it's going to be at Crans Junior High in Dickinson, I think, in 2 weeks. So if you want to come out, we'll be putting information out on the website about that. Thank you.
Congratulations. And that concludes the recognitions portion.
That candy, that's a sweet Hey, me and the man's fighting.
Okay, we'll go to item 6, public comments. The board will now hear those who wish to make comments and have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Mr. Shafi.
Yes, we have quite a few. First one up is going to be Brian Schneider from Gallup Drive. He wants to talk about items 10B on the agenda.
Good evening, board members. My name is Brian Schneider. I live at 2613 Gallup Drive. I'd like to share just a few thoughts pertaining to item 10B, and that's the calling of the bond election. I just want to be clear that I support initiatives that promote core education, such as expanding the STEM program. I want to mention that according to the June 22nd, 2022 Bay Area Observer newspaper, I have a copy right here that published the district's public meeting notice regarding the district's proposed tax rate. The district currently has $299 million of debt, and that's principal, not interest. According to this evening's staff report, the district is considering another $235 million of debt. And if that bond initiative is approved by the voters, the district will have a total of $534 million of debt. And that's totaling over $500 million, which I challenge this board to find another district in the area that has more debt. That's a tremendous amount of debt. According to the same ad, the district has a maintenance and operation fund balance of $42 million. So why isn't the board looking at the $42 million? I know the board can't answer the questions, speakers' questions, but just some thoughts about why the question that comes to mind is why isn't the board looking at using the $42 million of maintenance and operations to fund some of these core education needs that the district has? If there's a shortfall from that $42 million, which likely there is, then maybe a smaller bond sale would make sense. My concerns regarding the overall election are, do we really need a $56 million stadium? It sounds to me like it's more of a want than a need. Constructing a new football stadium will be a tremendous strain on students who participate in football, band, track, soccer, and other activities that utilize the stadium. I can only imagine it would probably take at least a year or two to complete. And so those students that are currently involved with those sports or activities will suffer. What I found interesting was the stadium wasn't listed on the website, the bond exploration website, on the district's website. I know there's several equipment needs with the district too, but financing equipment that has a 15-year life expectancy or lifespan over a period of 20 or 30 years probably isn't a good decision. Going out for debt right now in this interest rate environment, we have some of the highest interest rates that we've seen in the last 30 years. So the debt that's incurred is going to be exorbitant in terms of cost. And expecting homeowners and businesses to pay for $534 million of debt, to me isn't a wise business decision at this time. So I'm asking and requesting that the board postpone this election until a more reasonable plan, a reduced scope, could be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shrine.
Next will be Rick Helton, Josh Way, bond propositions.
Rick Helton, 345 Josh Way. Good evening, everybody. I appreciate y'all. I know it's a imposition on y'all. This takes some time away from things that y'all really like to do, and I appreciate y'all serving on the board. I really do. As far as propositions go, Proposition B I can support. Not technology, we need it, we got to step with it, I can support that. Proposition A, I can support only because 3/4 of it is for the majority of the projects seem to be legitimately needed to support the academics and needs of the children. However, I've got reservations about the $34 million field house that has been renamed the education building so it could be put in this proposition. The renaming seems a bit shady and sneaky, but as stated before, I can support Proposition A only because the majority of it seem to be for legitimate academic needs. As far as Proposition C, the stadium itself, cannot support the Proposition C. Asking for a $56 million stadium seems a bit tone deaf in this current economic environment. And our district is currently graded a B, 87 out of 100. It's improved from where it has been. Y'all have been doing a good job. It's getting better. We're not at A like we should be, but we're getting there. But for the foreseeable future, we need to focus all of our resources on the education of our children and the improvement of our teachers and classrooms. Thank you all for allowing me to speak tonight, and I appreciate you taking time.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the list is Cheryl Patrick and Stephanie Helton on Birch Drive about the stadium.
Good evening, I'm Cheryl Patrick. I have a class of 2020 graduate from LaPorte High School, and I also have a current junior at LaPorte High School. My class of 2020 graduate was 4 years in band, and my junior is currently in football.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Helton. I have 2 children at LaPorte High School. I also have a daughter who's a teacher at LaPorte Junior High. And we are here to support our, voice our support for this bond.
Being in band for 4 years, we definitely visited plenty of stadiums with competitions, and being in football for 3 years, we've visited many stadiums. I would definitely say that ours is not anywhere close to the top, it's closer to the bottom. My mother-in-law has mobility issues, and she wasn't able to come to many of my oldest son's events with band or the current son because, you know, that's in football, because she had a problem getting up in the stands. It's kind of scary when you walk up in the stands and you can see cracks in the concrete. It just does not look safe at all. And even though my kids won't really benefit from it because I have a junior and one that already graduated, I think that the future Bulldogs deserve a better stadium, and it's not just for football, it's band, and it's Chados, and it's track, ROTC. I just really would like for y'all to consider going forward with the new stadium.
And I know it seems like a lot of money, but we're a district with a lot of low-income families, and a lot of these kids, their best bet to be successful in life is sports, and they're not going to get that exposure coming from a stadium like this that no one wants to come to. So we're going to attract more students to come to our district. This is going to give better opportunities for all of our students. So mine too, mine are older. This may benefit mine 1 year. So I'm not speaking just because I have a football child. I think we should invest in our children no matter the cost. If we have $42 extra million, that's not going to go a long ways to anything that's being proposed. So I'm sure y'all know how to manage that. So we are in full support.
Definitely full support of this.
Thank you.
All right, next on the list is Kelly Greenwald from Spencer Landing East. Talk about the school bond.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Greenewalt. I live at 312 Spencer Landing East. I'm the mother of 7 children. Our first child graduated from LaPorte High School in 2021. We currently have a daughter in 9th grade, a daughter in 8th grade, a son in 1st grade, a daughter in kindergarten, and a 1-year-old. Needless to say, our family is vested in this school district and will continue to be for years to come. I was glad to lend my voice as a member of the 2023 Bond Exploration Committee. Over the past several months, our committee met numerous times, during which we discussed a variety of needs facing our district. These needs include everything from safety, security, chillers, boilers, school buses, and technology for our students, teachers, and staff, to a replacement stadium and a conference center facility designed to hold larger groups of students and staff. Like many of you, I've spent lots of time at Bulldog Stadium. It's one of my favorite places, and I have a lot of memories there. When our committee toured Bulldog Stadium, we noticed numerous structural issues and safety hazards, like crumbling concrete and exposed rusted rebar. As a committee, we discussed the best ways to address these issues. We asked lots of questions and proposed many scenarios to architects, construction managers, purchasing agents, and even financial experts. As we discussed alternatives with the experts, it was easy to arrive at the consensus that repairing a facility that has been exposed to harsh Gulf Coast elements for more than 6 decades would not be fiscally responsible. These issues have to be addressed, though. In fact, if we attempted to repair the stadium, we would be having to consider this process over again in just 5 to 10 years by going in that direction. A new facility, however, will take us another 50 or 60 years. Our committee heard from several reputable school finance experts, and through that process, we learned that we are in an excellent position financially to go out for these projects. I agree with them. It's time to move forward. Those little bitty guys that were in here singing "You've Got a Friend in Me" will one day be crossing Bulldog Stadium, and I hope that you guys will consider approving this bond so that we can cheer for them when they cross that stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Amberly Dalton, Shell Rock Road, bond exploration.
Hi. Okay, I'm just gonna read. Good evening, board members and Superintendent Dr. Jackson. I'm speaking on behalf of the 2023 Bond Exploration Committee. My name is Amberly Dalton. I do live here in LaPorte, and I have 2 children currently attending, a freshman and a 4th grader, as well as my niece recently moved in with me, and she's a senior this year at the high school. Serving on this committee was an eye-opener for me, like I'm sure it was for everyone else. Sorry for saying and sorry my face is about to be really red. Okay. First, I learned that... Do I? Okay. Sorry. First, I learned that we really must call bonds every 8 to 10 years just to pay for things like our air conditioner units, school buses, and technology that our students use. I learned that because of our proximity to the bay, we have to run our AC units more than normal just to prevent mold and other associated problems. Air conditioners go out in schools just like they go out in our homes, and air conditioning is a must in this area. I also learned that school buses cost around $120,000 and up, and that LaPorte ISD replaces aging buses on a rotating basis. Just as the district replaces band and orchestra instruments and uniforms, sorry, I read that wrong. Just as the district replaces band and orchestra instruments and uniforms. Speaking of performing arts, this project would provide a much needed sound upgrades at our campus cafetoriums and the Angelo Theater, where the current system is piecemealed. Serving on the committee also educated me to the fact that technology doesn't just include software and computers for students and teachers, but also things that we don't see, such as internet fiber and servers, which are required to run those classroom computers. I learned that LaPorte ISD has a history of spreading our technology funds out so that technology upgrades can happen when they need to. We know that the safety of our students and staff is extremely important, and serving on the committee taught us that occasional grants and regular budget items are not sufficient to make our schools as safe as they possibly can be. A good part of this bond exploration involved delving deeply into certain safety and security plans for our school. This is a must. Finally, I learned that LaPorte ISD has done its homework for the past 18 months and that everything listed on the bond proposal is a need and not a want. That is what I read, but also want to speak on the football stadium. I do have a freshman. She cheers, so she will be impacted on not having a stadium for 2 years. Hopefully, if she makes cheerleader the next few years, it's needed. It's not about this class. It will be awful if we do have it, and for the juniors and the seniors next year that would not get to play on the facility. But it's about so much more than those 2 classes. It's about moving forward, about future generations getting to play on it. After touring it, and I'm there twice a week. I'm the season ticket holder, and I'm there for JV games for my cheerleader. I never noticed how bad shape the stadium is in until I did the tour, and it is crumbling. I learned we cannot even pressure wash it anymore because of the crumbling concrete. My mother-in-law, who is elderly, could not walk to our season tickets because there's no handrail for her to hold on to, so we had to get additional tickets down lower for her to sit in. Just things like that I didn't really pay attention to until this really opened my eyes on it, on how bad that stadium is. It is a lot more than just football. It's all the sports that attend there, the band. It's just so much more than just football and sports. And to some kids, that is their outlet. Sports is their outlet. You have people that are really involved in STEM and technology. Some like sports, so why not benefit those kids as well as we're benefiting with our amazing STEM program, the planetarium, all those amazing features? Why not give our athletes something to be proud of as well?
Thank you.
And that's all.
Okay, next is Adam J. Holland, Scenic Shore, bond proposal, speaking by proxy.
Good evening, Board Trustees and Dr. Jackson. My name is Adam Holland, and I am the Director of Communications and Community Relations for LaPorte ISD. I'm speaking this evening on behalf of Ruben Farias, who has been a volunteer member of the Bond Exploration Committee. Mr. Farias could not attend this evening's meeting because of work obligations, but asked that we read his statement into the record. Following is the statement that he submitted. Being part of this community and living here practically all of my life, there are two aspects that are certain. One is the love for this small industrial town and its core. Two, the love of this school district and its unending pursuit of excellence. As in all things in life, things wear down, they get tattered, faded, and no longer structurally sound. These items come to the point of disrepair, unsafe, and in need of replacing. This bond that is being studied, questioned, analyzed, numbers crunched, then being questioned again, is not a matter of want, it's a matter of need. The need to give students, faculty, support staff, and the community facilities to be proud of, admired by other districts, but more importantly, safe. Safe for all who attend classes, teach classes, work there, and for those who visit or utilize our facilities. There's no fluff in all of the items that this bond lists. It's intended to enhance one's experience in stepping foot in our classrooms or other facilities. Being part of this bond steering committee gave me the understanding and excitement for what the school district and the community deserve. I would imagine that some would question how much taxes would increase by. The answer is zero. I ask the board to push this bond for election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next one is going to be Kathy Crate from Hillsdale, off of Hillsdale, about special ed.
I gotta bring books every time.
Thank you.
Okay, first off, excuse the way I look, I just came from the fitness center, but didn't want to go back home beforehand. And real fast, I agree with the first two gentlemen on the stadium, but y'all don't allot enough time to speak on two different subjects, so, but I agree with the first two gentlemen that spoke. Back again on the program, paraprofessional pay. I did watch the YouTube, I think it was 2 meetings ago, where she came in and y'all had updated the website and stuff regarding their pay. It's still just under $15. It's $14.31 an hour. I'm still pushing for y'all to shift that pay grade to the bus driver pay grade, which starts out at $19.29 an hour. I have not heard that any of y'all have been in the self-contained classrooms for 5, 10, 15, or even 30 days to see what those individuals have to work with. And again, I think if y'all would go in there and see what these positions do, you may place a little bit more value on them. The closest district to us is going to be Deer Park as far as the size is concerned. And we currently have 7 special education paras on our website y'all are looking for work. They only have 3. So when the word salad was here a couple of meetings ago, talking about being comparable, that's definitely not comparable. There's no reason for us to be comparable when it comes to special education. We should rise above. Look at everybody voting for football and cheerleading and all of that, but yet y'all put the special education way low in your concerns. People with disabilities make the largest minority community in the nation. It's about 20%. And there is no discrimination on age, sex, race, or gender when it comes to disabilities. We will all be disabled in some sort of way by the time we hit the grade. Any of us that wear glasses, we've worn braces, we have broken bones, we have organs removed, we have anything in us, we are disabled. But there's a level of disability that is different than that type of disability, and they get pushed to the ground a lot. I put a link in there for y'all to be able to go and look up some information on disabilities, the stats and the facts of the amount of people and the hindrance and the challenges and things that they face in communities and in work. And so y'all need to really consider the teachers getting the help that they need for those teachers to be able to do their jobs. Teachers can make anything look good on paper, and I respect that, but they literally cannot do the work that they need to do because they don't have the physical assistance. And then the next thing is recently learning about the students who y'all receive Medicaid funds, excuse me, off the backs of their disabilities. And it's dumped into the general fund. It used to be set aside where special education teachers could draw from that fund to help with their classrooms. Every year when they get new students in their classrooms, they have different challenging learning abilities that they need to change things in their classroom. They don't have the funds for them. The district doesn't provide the funds. The teachers have to pay for it out of pocket. But that money is dumped into the general fund because the ideology that LaPorte has is everyone is a general ed student with modifications for special education. That is not true. It's not true. The self-contained students are in those classrooms. They seldom go out, or even if they do go out to mainstream classrooms, all of their work is modified, but they need to have it modified in order to complete. And it's the special education teachers that do that modification work. So, y'all look good on paper to say, hey, we value them or we look at them as general ed students, but the reality for their well-being, they are not general ed students. But money is being taken from them, so y'all don't want to pay Paris to help the teacher, and then you take money that should help their classrooms, their abilities, those teachers to be able to fund and build their classrooms for whatever those individual students need. They work off of individual education plans. They're not group education like they are in mainstream, but y'all just take from them. You push aside their value and you take from them. So I really wish y'all would reconsider going back to the way that it used to be, where teachers had the Medicare funds that are coming off those students' backs anyway. They're not benefiting from it by y'all putting it in general education. They're benefiting from it when the teachers were able to provide classroom environments for their education. Little to not, but they're going to be community citizens one day as adults. So, you know, either value them or don't. But right now, LaPorte's not doing a very good job in valuing them at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Craig.
President Youngman, could I ask a question for clarification from Ms. Craig?
If that's okay with the board? Okay.
Your point about the Medicaid funds going into the general fund, can you tell me where you get that information
I'm
from?
not going to reveal that information, but I've had several teachers that, I've been a part of the district for as many years as I've been. There's several teachers that I've talked to, but I'm not going to pinpoint any of them because I respect their positions. But I do know that their struggles of what they have shared with me on what used to be available compared to what is available today.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Go to item 7, administrative report, superintendent's report. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, board members. We're now more than a month into the spring 2023 semester, and students and staff are diligently working towards success on the upcoming STAR and end of course exams, to name just a few. It has been a remarkably busy month and school year in our school district. In addition to everything happening during school hours, our students are spending their extra time successfully competing in academic, athletic, and fine arts events. And I want to begin by thanking you, Board of Trustees, for paving the way for our accomplishments. As our state-renowned high school musical wrapped up its 2023 schedule of performances this past weekend, 7 of our award-winning fine arts program students have their works on display at NRG for the duration of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. These young artists are vying for big scholarship money in addition to the acclaim that they have earned. Tomorrow morning, LaPorte High School students will assemble in the Student Center for a celebratory send-off for 2 all-state band students who are headed to San Antonio to perform in the Texas Music Educators Association concert. These young musicians have been able to hone their skills in our state-of-the-art Fine Arts Center, along with more than 200 fellow musicians who were all honored at the all-region meet and were part of the Sweepstakes award-winning and area finalists Mighty Bulldog Marching Band. So far this school year, 5 LaPorte High School student athletes have signed national letters of intent to continue playing and studying at the university level. In addition to these state qualifiers, dozens of our student athletes, have been recognized as all-district and academic all-district. We're not only proud of these stellar students, but we are grateful that they chose to earn a quality education and outstanding athletics experience in LaPorte schools. Our athletics programs not only win on the fields, Board of Trustees, they not only win on the courts, but they also in developing next-level student athletes. But they also are recognized for their character. I had the pleasure recently of seeing our Bulldogs football team recognized by the Houston Touchdown Club as a 2023 Sportsmanship Award finalist. This award is a testimony to the breadth of our program. Not only do we seek to field competitively scholarly teams, but we also teach and insist that our student athletes maintain a high character and on and off the field or the court. More than 100 LaPorte ISD robotics students in grades 4 through 8 competed against 37 teams from across Greater Houston on January 28 and brought home 11 awards. Additionally, the teams from Heritage Elementary and Lomax Junior High qualified to advance to regionals. Many of these same students were among the hundreds of competitors in our annual elementary and 6th grade academic UIL meet this past weekend. Also this past weekend, 2 of our junior high students qualified to compete in the State History Fair. These are just a few of the academic accomplishments that are a testament to our commitment to providing LaPorte ISD students the opportunity to compete globally upon the completion of their formal education. Another testament to our commitment to academic excellence is our academic decathlon team, which will compete at the Texas Academic Decathlon State Meet after winning 8 medals, including individual runner-up at the regional meet in late January. Effective professional development is one of the core priorities in our strategic plan, and this fall semester alone, we have offered over 140 professional learning opportunities for our teachers from early childhood to high school. We have over 1,527 educators who have attended these professional learning opportunities, and we believe our professional learning opportunities equip our educators to develop the knowledge and skills they need to address students' learning challenges and needs. We pride ourselves in developing professional development that requires thoughtful planning, followed by careful implementation with feedback to ensure it responds to our educators' learning needs. And then lastly, none of this happens by accident. Great leadership at the campus and district level, coupled with excellent governance by our school board, and you provide the vision for our school district. This enables us all to have a laser focus on our #1 priority, which is student success. This will conclude my comments and my report for the board tonight, Mr. President. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Board, do y'all have any questions for Dr. Jackson? Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we go to item 8, Bond Steering Committee recommendations for a bond referendum.
Make sure you can hear me. Well, good evening, Board President Yonda, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Jackson. Tonight I will be opening on behalf of the LaPorte ISD Bond Steering Committee to provide a brief overview of the committee process and, more importantly, the work that this group has done to this day. Later in the presentation, I will ask that the committee representatives provide further information as it relates to the proposed 2023 bond election for LaPorte ISD. During tonight's presentation, we will spend some time providing an overview of the committee, some of the work that committee took part in. We'll spend some time on the scope of review and give you an in-depth look at the items that the group reviewed and analyzed through this process. We will spend some time on the district financial portfolio and what we look like from a financial stance as it relates to the 2023 bond. And then lastly and finally, we will bring forth a recommendation or several recommendations in this case for your approval and provide next steps. As it relates to the committee, as all committees, the goal was very clear on making sure that we had a mixed population of individuals. The committee consisted of 29 citizens, various walks of life, with cross-sections of the entire LPISD community. It included parents, non-parents, campus members and district staff members, community members, and also business members. Again, a mix of backgrounds and geographic representation, and this committee had one objective, and that was to do their best to obtain as many perspectives based off district need through that process. The charge was simple. First, consider the educational needs of all students. Second, align those recommendations with the district's mission, vision, and goals. Third, consider the community needs in the facility planning process. Fourth, assess and prioritize the current and long-term facility needs for our district. And lastly, develop a recommendation that is fiscally sound without a tax increase. This work did not happen in the last 2 months. Well before my time, Dr. Jackson and other members of the district and this team over an 18-month period has been exploring the idea of coming to this very night and putting these items in front of you. And there was a lot of energy and time and commitment put forth in that. Meetings consisted heavily of debate and conversation and peaceful feelings, but they included facility tours, taking the groups out to look hands-on, get first-person viewpoints of the needs that our district has, reviewing needs assessments based off principal input, student-teacher input, district financial studies, bringing in experts to give us overviews of what that looks like and what could we even do and where do we start. And then lastly, of course, stakeholder input. Tonight, I know there are several members of the committee that were a part of this process. I just want to take 1 second. If you are a part of our bond steering committee, if you could just stand. Great group of individuals, and truly blessed personally to be a part of that process. Lots of learning, new to the district. I was able to learn very fast from people who bleed the orange and black. Tonight we have 2 representatives, and Bill, if you guys want to step this way, that I want to introduce that will be representing or our spokespeople pertaining to our steering committee. First, Mr. Ed Matizak. Ed has lived in the LaPorte community since 1973. He is married and has 2 kids who are LPISD graduates. Ed obtained his Bachelor's of Engineering from Penn Military College of Widener University and later his graduate degree at the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College. Ed is a retired Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, serving 24 years. In his professional life, Ed spent 40 years in engineering, project management, and business development. Ed has served on the LPISD School Board in 2008 and chaired the 2004 and 2014 LPISD Bond Implementation and Oversight Committees. Additionally, he has served 3 terms on the LaPorte City Council and served 30 years on the Citizens Advisory Council to LaPorte Industry. Ed, thank you for being here, and thank you so far for your service. Kelly Greenwald is the mother of 7 children and the author of a best-selling children's book series published by Scholastic. She has lived in LaPorte since 2005. Her family has lived in the LaPorte area since the early 1900s. Her grandfather attended LaPorte High School and played in the first ever LaPorte versus Deer Park football game. Wow. That's good stuff. She has 4 children currently attending school in LaPorte ISD from kinder through 9th grade. She was a foster parent for several years and adopted 5 children. Ms. Greenewald is a passionate advocate for children in special education and has served as an educational surrogate for foster children residing within our district. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Matizak. You guys can come forward here.
Good evening, board members. Good evening. Yeah, it's coincidental. This happened to be on on a night of national interest, I'm dying to say, Mr. President, the state of this district is great. But I won't do that. And I was also told that this was going to be a piece of cake, but I look over to the table and no cake.
Kind of sad about it.
Anyway, good evening, and thank you for allowing us to make this presentation on behalf of the 2023 Bond Steering Committee. I also wish to thank Dr. Jackson and Dr. Bromley for your leadership and guidance during this 18-month process. Talk about timing, it's been 50 years exactly almost since I arrived in Houston, Texas with a car, a wife, a 2-year-old girl. It was dark, it was on a Friday night, and we crossed the Texas border, and the first thing we saw were these lights. These huge lights going through Beaumont down I-10 towards Houston. Wondered what they were. Those were high school stadiums. I didn't believe it at the time. I didn't know that at the time. But that's Texas. It was welcoming us to Texas. That night we stayed in a hotel downtown Houston, a Holiday Inn, as a matter of fact. And the next day we got up early and I began to search for where I was going to work. I didn't know exactly where it was. It wasn't really on a map. Somebody overheard us in IHOP and said, I mentioned the term Deepwater. It's, oh, we know where that's in Pasadena. And I pointed out on a map. And sure enough, we got down there and I checked out where I was going to work. And the office was closed. I mean, it was a Saturday, so we headed south and went down. I told my wife, I said, you know, well, let's go find a place to live now. We've got 10 days to do this. So let's not waste any time doing this. Let's go. So we headed down Shaver and hit Spencer. And I had a choice. I could go left or right. We just happened to go left and headed towards LaPorte, as it was, and the bay. Well, as we drove, it probably took us 20, 30 minutes to do that. We were looking for homes, and we saw some apartment complexes. I mean, it wasn't the best views in the world going down Spencer back in 50 years ago. But we hit LaPorte, and there was this subdivision called Fairmont Park. And it had a sign on there. It was beautiful, it looked beautiful. You know, it was a real residential area. And it had the sign on there, restricted community. And we kind of looked at each other and said, well, I hope it's not restricted to Yankees, because that's exactly what we were coming here. And it said, you know, real estate office this way. So we followed the arrows to the real estate office, and we talked to the real estate agent there. And, you know, the first thing they explained to us was what restricted meant. It meant deed restrictions. That's what it was all about, explain what a deed restriction was. And then they started talking about LaPorte Independent School District. They're looking at my little 2-year-old saying, you're going to need, you know, some education for her. And guess what? We've got one of the best school districts in the state of Texas right here. Would you believe it? I go, well, tell me more. He says, oh yeah, this is just over here. We've got Rizzuto, or Jeannie Reed rather. Rizzuto hadn't been built yet. That's where your little girl will go to elementary school, and just a couple more blocks down the way would be Baker. That's going to be her junior high. By the way, Baker has tennis courts, and I mean, it was really pretty flush. And then we got the junior highs, and then they went to the high school, and he started pointing out the things in that high school. I mean, high school had an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It had just about everything you could possibly imagine in there. This school district taught foreign languages in first grade. And I'm not talking dual language. I'm talking, you know, French, German, as well as Spanish. I'm not so sure there wasn't Latin involved in that either, but can't talk to people in Latin anyway. So, where I'm going with this is that agent, along with others, when we opened up banking accounts, explained that LaPorte ISD had the best and highest paid teachers in Texas. Again, Olympic-sized swimming pool, large stadium, offered foreign languages. and even had a planetarium. And I'm going, you're kidding me, really? Because I came from one of the richest towns in New Jersey, third richest town, Westfield, New Jersey. And we had none of this stuff. I mean, what's the point of being rich if you don't have, stuff to go with it? I was just amazed. And as luck would have it, I wasn't just here temporarily. I stayed here for 50 years. And our kids got an excellent education here. My daughter Tracy graduated salutatorium in 1987. Bradley graduated in 1989. Tracy went then to Trinity University, then West Point, and then UT Medical School, where she got her MD degree. And currently she's a colonel in the Army and a practicing doctor. Bradley graduated from San Jacinto College and then went to the University of Houston, is working in the, has a successful career in information technology. So, bottom line is, when I had to go left or right, I made the right choice. I came to LaPorte. I chose LaPorte. Use that as a logo. You might want to do that. May have seen it. So if you would indulge me for just one more minute. My late father told me, Eddie, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter where you live, leave that place a better place than you found it. Last week, my late father would have turned 118 years old. I've tried to live up to this charge, and with your help and the support of this community, I can, you can, we can make LaPorte not only a better place, but perhaps the best. There's no reason why we can't be the best. But you know something? Great places don't stay great without maintenance. And they don't become the best without continuous upgrades and improvement. I sincerely urge you to favorably consider our bond steering committee recommendations as being in the best interests of our students, faculty, community, and patrons. And do all this incredibly without a tax increase. So with that in mind, let me say this. Our recommendations are an aggregate amount of $235 million. And this sounds large. It is large. But it's consistent with previous LPISD bond programs. And it can be done again without a tax increase. So before I present each of the propositions, I want to ask Kelly to come in and tell us about the finances.
He's hard to follow. It has been both an honor and a pleasure to serve on this committee. We've presented with a broad scope of information. During our review, we went over the state of the district, input from teachers, staff, and other stakeholders. We looked at district tax and finance information. We learned a lot about school finance. We learned about construction cost and inflation. We looked at community survey results. We looked at the bond history, and we also had the opportunity to tour the campuses in LaPorte. Now, each one of these items is equal in importance, and most of them are straightforward and pretty easy to understand, with the exception of school finance. I'll admit that I didn't have a clear understanding of school finance until I joined this committee, and due to Texas legislation, school finance is fairly complicated, and I'd like to take a minute to go over some of the things that I learned. LPISD's last bond was in 2014 for $260 million. Since then, LPISD's taxable value, which is determined by the County Appraisal District, not LaPorte ISD, has more than doubled. This has freed up the district to pay off bonds early, refinance debt, and lower interest rates, and has saved taxpayers more than $32 million. LPISD is subject to recapture. I didn't really understand what that was, but basically a large portion of the maintenance and operations budget must be taken from the district and sent to the state. This year, the district was required to send $55 million to the state. And due to recapture, LPISD must include funds for general maintenance and operations and bond referendums. Since the last bond, LPISD has been able to reduce the tax rate by nearly 20 cents, making it the lowest it's been in over 15 years. The fiscal responsibility has positioned the district to have additional bond capacity to address aging and evolving needs without increasing the interest and sinking debt service tax rate. It is important to both the district and to this committee that the bond package not require a tax increase. I want to assure you that this committee asked hard questions. We wanted to feel confident in the recommendations we would provide. We discussed, we argued, we dug in, we sought the advice of experts, and we asked for additional details. We revisited concerns multiple times until we felt we had reached an understanding. We each brought our own talents and perspectives. We did our best to represent a cross-section of this beautiful community. We checked, double-checked, and triple-checked our numbers because we wanted to be 100% solid when we said there would be no tax increase due to this bond. Next, we're going to go over our recommendations. I'm going to hand the podium back over to Ed, who will walk you through those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you miss me? Okay. Doc, are we on the right slide here? Next. Okay, based on all the information that we studied, the committee reached a positive consensus that each project in the recommendation tonight should be included in the bond referendum. This bond steering committee is recommending that the LPISD Board of Trustees call for a $235 million bond election to address safety and security, aging facilities, and evolving campus needs across the entire district, again, at no tax rate increase. The recommendations have been structured, the structure of the bond propositions will be decided by the board with council input. And I think we can get into that a little bit more later, but our state law is somewhat complicated and somewhat contradictory, but we think that what we've recommended here complies with all of the current regulations. And so our recommendation is that this bond referendum be broken up into three propositions. Propositions A for $164 million, Proposition B for $15 million, and Proposition C for $56 million. You have to bear with me a little bit on this because there's so much that needs to be done in the school district. We literally could spend hours going through each and every item. So this is going to be a rather generalized presentation on subjects grouped by category and areas. So Prop A by category has items, this is for each campus. This is for all 6 elementaries, the 2 juniors, DeWalt, and of course the high school. But this will address safety and security, facility needs, furniture, fixture, and equipment costs, FF&E, student programs and student support, energy conservation, and instructional and co-curricular needs. This list is, well, I call it a huge checklist. Well, we didn't even have enough. It wasn't even worth putting the whole thing on here, so we kind of cut it in half. But each one of these items on here, for instance, repair cracks, concrete work, carpets, office desks, and water fountain upgrades to include the ability to the kids to fill their water bottles at every campus. It goes on and on and on. But that accounts for a huge chunk of this money, is just bringing the schools up to first-class standard. Next, we have some real highlights that I'd like to talk about. Safety and security. Well, with Uvalde and Frisco ISD in the back of your mind, there's a whole bunch of things that we need to do to come up to standard to keep our kids as safe as we possibly can. Money should not be an object on this. And so we're including silent panic systems, security films on the windows and doors, perimeter fencing around each campus, and communication upgrades. In addition, we have an educational center / field house. Now, some have said this is a sneaky way of doing it, but it's not. It's basically makes all the sense in the world because it is part of our sports complex as well as fulfilling a tremendous educational need that we need in this community, for the community, and for this school district. And it's a professional development space, meeting rooms, large meeting rooms with lots of electronics. It's got community space. On the first floor, we've got locker rooms, weight rooms, equipment storage, and they are Title IX compliant, which many of you have heard a lot of complaints that the girls are not treated as good as the guys. We're going to rectify that with this. We have fine arts upgrades, the fine arts enhancements to each campus. A lot of people say, who needs that kind of stuff? Well, you do. I mean, you really do. To be a first-class school district, be a first-class educational system, you got to have fine arts included. We have to give broad base to all our kids. And we're going to do this with fine arts enhancements at each campus. That includes supplies, tools, kiln rooms, pottery wheels, instruments. And I'm talking about band instruments. Those band instruments are old that we have, and they're very expensive. And we need uniforms. They are also old and need replacement, and we should provide them. There's more to that, but we can get into that at another time. Okay, transportation. New buses. I'm sure that you all have ridden in one of our new buses. It's pretty fantastic. They got cameras, I think there's 6 cameras per bus. I mean, it's just fantastic. And we're going to even do better than that. There's money in this bond program to replace 8 buses with new buses every other year. And these buses are going to contain GPS tracking systems that not only track where the bus is at any one time, but every student that's on that bus. And that's fantastic. We will never lose a kid with this type of electronics. This is great. Additional improvements at each campus. Well, we've got academic and core space improvements, including furniture, restroom repairs, STEM additions, gym renovations, and much, much more. Lomax Junior High School. A new gym. A fine arts renovation. We thought we had killed that new gym thing in a bond election in the past. But we found that there were some flaws in that, and that will not be repeated. And we're going to not waste that space. We're going to renovate it and make it a fine arts fine arts room renovation. In LaPorte High School, well, I don't know about you, but I always found that the entrance to that school was rather lackluster, to be honest with you. It kind of left something to be desired. It was not the portal to this education system that I always felt was representative of how good we are. We're going to do a new entrance, and the whole greeting area inside that is going to be something else. Still under plans, we're going through, and you guys are going to be making the decisions on it, just how that's going to look. I have my ideas, I'd be willing to chime them in, but that's not my charter. So at the high school, we got the entry renovation, and we've got a gym renovation. As you know, we've got termites in our competition gym. It's really been unusable for quite a while. Next slide, please. That kind of is a summary of Prop A. Let's go to Prop B, which is $15 million worth of technology. Again, sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. Technology is not cheap. And we're going to be giving our students the best in technology, a one-to-one basis, which means every student's got a laptop or some computer device to be able to do his schoolwork and learn in this environment that we're in. There'll be devices for not only students, but also the teachers and staff K through 12. Teacher technology standards, including docking stations, monitors, wireless access, I assume projectors and other things that go with the technology. And this money accounts for buying new technology devices in phases over the next 10 years as they reach the end of their cycle. One of the people that spoke earlier talked about, having to pay these things, pay off technology that goes out of date over 30 years. That's not the case here. We will have separate bonds with short durations, and they will be paid off within the lifespan of what we're providing our kids. And then we'll get them new stuff. Here comes the gem. This is the crown. This is Proposition C. $56 million for a new Bulldog Stadium. Now this is the crown jewel of our sports complex. That name was brought up in our meetings, and I really liked it because when you think about what we have in this district, we've got the Bulldog Center, Texas class basketball gymnasium. I mean, fabulous. You walk outside, we've got tennis courts, brand new softball fields, baseball fields. What we don't have is a decent stadium. And you heard testimony today about, it's kind of a disappointment. It drags the rest of us down. Because here in Texas, right or wrong, you look at that stadium and you make a judgment of this district. And we want people to come here, we want people to buy here, we want people to shop here, we want people to stay here. And one way to do that is to have a first-class, Texas-class stadium. The new stadium will sit in the same site that it is now, include additional seating, a new press box, both visitor and home will be in the same press box area. It will include locker rooms, an 8-lane track, and I'll say this, we will be finally UIL approved for sports here. We can't have UIL sports track and other things here because our facilities do not comply with the standards. This will bring them up to those standards. We will no longer have to go elsewhere to compete. We can invite others to come here and see what a great district we are. By doing so, we also enhance the safety and security of the stadium and the area. It will be finally ADA compliant. And I tell you what, I'm getting pretty darn old. And walking up and down those stairs with no handrails and skinnying my way over to watch a ball game, it's not getting any easier. And I hate to admit I'm getting that old, but I am. And there's lots of grandparents that love to see their kids. And they deserve a good seat and a safe seat. And not to mention our kids with challenges. So we really need this. We need it to be secure, and that will happen. We'll be able to have UIL band contests. We'll have a viewing deck, drainage improvements, and parking. And one thing that's not on here but was brought up by our architects, and I can just envision this. For one, we're going to have a Texas class jumbotron. That's going to be fantastic. Better than Deer Park, by the way. Just saying. On top of that, we're going to have something that I don't know that any other stadium, high school stadium, has. We're proposing to have ribbon LED boards running around the stadium between the upper and lower levels of seating, just like you see in an NFL stadium or a really high-class university. That is going to be so cool. It's going to be able to make announcements. We'll be able to sell advertising on that. But it's just going to be a wow factor. Thanks. And now, it's my pleasure. Dr. Dustin Broughton. How do you follow that up?
Thank you, and Ms. Greenwald, for speaking on behalf of the committee tonight. Hopefully, this is not new information. This is information you've seen before as a board through our workshop. We just put a different background on it and made it a little prettier. But nonetheless, it's not new. You know, we knew where we were as a committee early on and had those decisions. It was just more about refining that over these last few months of making sure all that made sense and it was aligned with all the different components. But you heard several times tonight about no tax rate increase, and you know, our job moving forward, obviously, if this is blessed tonight, is educating. It's telling the story of the need. It's telling the story of how the finances work. Several things were mentioned tonight that we now have the ability to go and educate what this means, but they don't make it easy. In 2019, House Bill 3 was adopted, which required the below ballot language. You can see that. In each one of those propositions we voted, you're going to see that it says this is a property tax increase. So now, again, through the blessing possibly tonight, it's about gaining that trust of us telling that story, presenting those facts, and being able to connect with all the people that listen to that. Next steps. Obviously, the deadline to call for the election is Friday, February 17th. Deadline to register to vote, April 6th. Early voting starts April 24th and May 2nd, with election day being Saturday, May 6th, 2023. Any questions for myself, steering committee members,
I don't have a question, but I have a couple of comments. Having served on part of my journey to becoming a school board member was serving on a bond exploration committee, and several of your bond exploration committee members now said what an eye-opening experience it was, and it absolutely was for me too. As you toured each campus, and it made you think of, you know, different thing than just what your kid was involved in and the needs of all the district. And I'm not going to speak for the board, but I'm going to speak for myself that all means all. And I want to applaud the committee for their 18 months of work, because I know what that's like, because I've been there and done that. We've been talking about this for a while. Y'all have been very transparent with us as things have developed, and as you were bringing in different experts to talk about different things. I'm glad you did some work with the committee on school funding, because it is complicated. And no matter how well we think we understand it, none of us are experts except maybe Stacy, sorry. You know, and maybe Dr. Jackson, sorry Doc, I didn't mean to leave you out. But, you know, I think they make it complicated for a reason, let's just say that. But I just want to commend the committee for their work and the time that they put in away from their families, away from their jobs, to, you know, see a vision for what we can provide for our community and our children in the future. So thank you for all the work that all of them did. Kudos.
Well said. Dr. Bowman, I'm the one that's asked all the hard questions, so I appreciate you guys dealing with me on a daily basis.
Thank you for dealing with me.
Yeah. So one of the things, and so I think it's truly impressive that we were able to get to that threshold and not have to raise the tax rate. And I think what we're hearing now, that we've kind of presented that to the public a little bit, is, man, it's too good to be true. And so there's a couple of people that reached out that wanted me to get clarity on, you know, we set that rate today and we're not raising it. They're afraid that maybe in 5 or 10 years from now that rate will go up. But is my understanding, and if you could please clarify this, that once we vote on this rate and the bond passes, it's not going up in the foreseeable, it cannot go up. Is that correct? Like
Stacy, help me here, but
The belief is that we're kind of kicking that can down the curve, like that we're paying interest now, and then 20 years the principal's going to be due.
Correct.
We will have to raise that rate up. Is that?
Well, where we sit right now, property values continue to rise. As long as property values continue to rise, our threshold of what we can keep, because we're a recaptured district, we're going to be maintaining. That's why we continually go down. The tax rate has continually dropped because our property values are going up. So can I tell you that 1,000% that in 5 years, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, but if we go with history, we're going to be maintaining or dropping down.
But we cannot raise the bond. I mean, we can raise yes, I know the M&O side of it. We cannot raise the bond debt without another bond election. Is that how that works?
No, I mean, they're two separate things. Okay. They're two parts of the tax rate.
Okay, thank you.
Board, any questions? I just want to tell you that as far as the committee, thank y'all for all y'all's hard work. I just echo Deanne. I think Deanne said it very well. So I just appreciate y'all's time and efforts, and thank y'all for y'all's presentation tonight. Okay, we go to item 9, consent agenda. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. Number 1, regular board meeting minutes, January 10th, 2023. I'd like that pulled, please. Number 2, special board workshop meeting minutes, January 24th, 2023. I'd like that pulled, please. C, receive principals reports. Number 1, Early Childhood Center. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. Number 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary. Number 8, Lomax Elementary. Number 9, James H. Baker 6th grade campus. Number 10, LaPorte Junior High. Number 11, Lomax Junior High. Number 12, LaPorte High School. Number 13, Bill DeWalt High School. D, receive financial reports for January 2023.
I'd like that pulled, please.
Okay. E, receive human resources report.
I'd like that pulled as well.
Okay. F, approve budget amendment. I'd like that pulled, please.
It's gonna be a long night.
G, approve employment of professional staff.
Pull that, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. H, approve an annual financial audit engagement for year ended June 30th, 2023. I, approve interlocal agreement for joint elections between the City of LaPorte and LaPorte Independent School District. J, approve purchase of demolition services for former LaPorte ISD buildings.
I would like to have a question on that. Please pull it.
Okay, pull that, please. K, approve purchase of flood insurance.
Can we pull that, please?
Okay. And L, approve second reading and adoption of TASB local policy update 120 affecting local policy CKC local, FNG local, and FO local. M, approve updates to the 2022-2023 LaPorte ISD compensation plan. Okay, Mr. Shafi, you mind reading the consent agenda, please?
A, C 1 through 13, H, I, L, and M.
Okay, board, seek a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Thompson made a motion. Seconded by Ms. Crutcher. Any discussion? Right, call for the vote. It's passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item B1. The reason why I pulled this, board, y'all received the amended minutes. I just asked if you approve it, make a motion to approve as amended, as was sent to y'all, as opposed to what was published. So if y'all would just somebody make a motion to approve as amended?
I move to approve as amended.
Okay, Mr. Martin made the motion, seconded by Mr. Shoppy. Discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you. Go to item B2, special board workshop meeting minutes, January 24th, 2023. Same thing, if y'all have received the amended minutes, if you would approve as, make a motion to approve as amended, please. Ms. Crutcher made a motion to approve, seconded by Mr. Hanks. Any discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is unanimous approved. Thank you. Okay, we go to item D, receive financial reports for January 2023. I think that was Ms. Thompson. I think you asked for that.
Yes, I think Mr. Hanks and I both wanted that.
Okay.
Or was it Mr. Martin? I don't know who I heard. Stacy, I think as we move forward in the current environment, I'm going to speak for myself, I'm probably going to pull this every time, just so that you can explain and that it's on the record what it is that we're approving and why it is changing. Explain the negative numbers that are on there so that it makes sense to the general public.
For the financial statement.
The allowance for the uncollectible taxes that's in the general fund and then some into the debt service fund.
Right, so as property taxes, are being paid, part of the accounting of the taxes is that we have to account for what we have not actually collected, but is owed to us, and so that's part of that. So as of January 31st, $779,000 is due to the district for the general fund. And this is previous. This is not current year. This is prior years. Uncollectible taxes for prior years. So part of it's for general fund, part of it's debt service. This is of January 31st. We are getting our tax payments in daily. Right. And so this number will continually go down. So when you see it next month in February, it'll be less, and then it'll gradually continue to go down.
Okay.
People are just paying their taxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just think it's important to note that we already have that encumbered for the debt service fund.
Absolutely. It's always accounted for. Every piece of what is owed to us or what we have received is accounted for.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll let Mr. Hanks, was that your question?
My question, no, I
Okay.
was wondering about a specific line item, but that answered.
Okay. All right.
Okay, board, any further questions? Okay, seek a motion.
So moved.
I want to recognize Mr. Shoppy making the motion, seconded by Ms. Thompson.
That's fine.
Discussion? If not, call for the vote. Okay, it's passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we go to item E, receive human resources report. Ms. Thompson.
I know it's me again, sorry. Hi, how are you?
Did great.
Okay, I want to know, comparatively to a year before now, are these numbers similar? I think I asked this like a couple of months ago, and I'm just trying to gauge, as we look at teacher retention and concerns with paras within our district, are those normal? I mean, I see a large amount of days of para absentee at CPE. I don't need to know what that's about. I just want to know, are these numbers comparable to what they were a year ago?
So I have to pull January just to be sure and get you an answer, but I will say as we look at these, they are fairly comparable each year, and there are times that we have some benchmark testing and things like that that occasion us to have more subs on the campuses. They might be doing some practice testing for STAR, things like that. There might be some middle of year testing at the elementaries, doing some literacy testing. We do. It is flu season. We also have some, and we always track that very carefully, of the people who are needing FMLA. So there might be some long-term subs on those campuses where you're seeing a little bit larger numbers at the top. I know LaPorte High School is just in itself, and I know Mr. Grammer could speak to that as well. Testing, we have some long-term subs in some positions, and then some extra support in some areas. areas. I would say the same when you talked about College Park at the bottom. We are providing some extra support in a specific program because of an increase in numbers.
Okay.
So we are providing some extra support at that campus at this time,
Perfect.
as well as at the high school.
Okay. If you don't mind, would you look at a year ago's report, and then if you could just reply to all the board members so that they all have the same information?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely, I will take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just curious, as we go into hiring season and we start talking about, we start having budget workshops as we talk about pay and things like that.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
retention. Thank you.
Right.
So can I ask real quick?
Oh, wait, Melissa.
Sorry, since you brought it up. With regards to our pool of subs, are we in good position for that, or have we?
Yes, we are in very good position for that. We've been able to recruit even more of our people who are certified, who hold certifications, or people who have bachelor's degrees. Some people are wanting to either go to the area, they're wanting to have full-time employment. It's just, not the time of year. But we also have a very healthy pool. And of course, what we always say, because we some days we're not real happy with our fill rates, percentages that fill. We do say sometimes our subs, they don't have to work every day. Some of them, there's certain days they select, some of them go to college, and so they can't work every day. But it is healthy, but we are always recruiting. We not only have our planned sub trainings that we host monthly, but we also will train every time we have someone, there's a need on a campus, we'll train somebody individually if needed. So it is very healthy, but we're always recruiting. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome.
Board, seek a motion. Mr. Shopping, may I motion it?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Haynes. Discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. Go to item F, approved budget amendment. I asked for this to be pulled because I'm going to get on my little soapbox here for just a second. Because I'm looking at this amended budget. And we have, as amended here, I think 46.4 million dedicated to instruction. That is not our largest expense. Our largest expense is not transportation, it's not extracurricular activities, it's not facilities maintenance and operations, it is not security and monitoring services, it's not data processing services, it's not community services, it's not even the very mission of this school district, which is instruction. Our largest expense is under 91, contracted instructional services between public schools, recapture at $58.7 million, which is about 12.4 million more than the very mission of this school district, which is instructing students. And that money is going to the state of Texas, which, as you probably know through all the news, that they're swimming in surplus. That is your school property taxes going to Austin. Now, there's been some very smart people, much smarter than me, that have connected the dots and shown that the amount that the state is getting and the amount that's going to our property poor school districts don't seem to add up. So I just wanted y'all to be aware, as it is right here, that our recapture is still at $58.7 million more, $12.4 million more than it costs as under instruction in our budget as amended here. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So you mean there's like a slush fund or something? I'm dumb, man. I gotta follow.
It's the general fund in the state of Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have. Okay. Any further questions or anything on the budget amendment?
You want a motion that we don't pay recapture?
Don't come and get us, Jeff.
Yeah.
Don't come and get us.
Why not?
You might get 6 seconds.
And I guess before we someone makes a motion, that's also too, we're obligated to have to pay that. We cannot, that's state law, and I think people here would lose their license, but anyway.
I noticed he looked at me when he said
We'll wait till you're ready to retire.
And that is something that's out of our hands when it comes to as far as the value of that just keeps on going up. So when you think about your school property taxes going up, well, we're not getting the benefit of it. It's going to going to Austin, so. But anyway, okay, with that being said, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Shopping made a motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Thompson. Call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go to item G, approve employment of professional staff. That, Ms. Thompson.
Yes, I'm not near as exciting as your last soapbox. I just want to know, on these two hires, are these growth in programs?
No.
Or are these positions that we hadn't filled earlier, or?
Well, one of them is, the first one is the special education teacher at Bayshore Elementary that you all took action on early on in the year with the teacher who had.
We're filling that position.
Contract. We are able to finally, and we're very excited to be able to fill that position with a certified teacher.
Okay.
And so that's that one, and this other one was someone has resigned for health reasons and some personal reasons, so we are filling that.
Okay. I just didn't know if we'd had growth in a program or something. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, just had a question.
Any further questions, board? Okay, if not, I seek a motion.
Motion?
Mr. Hanks made a motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Crutcher, seconded by Ms. Crutcher. Discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is approved unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we go to item J, approve purchase of demolition services for former LaPorte ISD buildings. Mr. Martin.
I get a soapbox?
Yes.
No, so first of all, I'm very excited that the district is taking action on this property. I know it wasn't budgeted for, but I think it'll be a great improvement, so thank you for doing that. The only thing I had a question on is we have a city councilman, so I'm not going to put him on the spot too much, but a couple years back, we worked with the city on different incentive grants and things, and we had a member of our Chamber of Commerce that requested that wanted to buy a property that was condemned. And so the city, you know, they can't, when they tear down the building, they don't qualify for a facade grant, but they can get some other money. So the city told us at the time that if the fire marshal came in and condemned the building, the city would help, they would pay the full cost of the demo. So my question is on this, I mean, that building's caught on fire a couple times. Is it something that can be condemned? Can we get that, the fire marshal to go in there and say this has been condemned? And if so, can the city, Rick Helton, come in and tell us that maybe they don't pay the full $65,000, but at the time, it was about $40,000 what they were gonna pay. Our friends at Dairy Queen were gonna buy a building across the street, and the city was gonna pay the 40 grand to get it demoed. Right. So I know it's not, I mean, in the grand scheme of thing, but still, $50,000 or $60,000 still a lot of money.
Free within an investment.
And so my whole question is, like, I love that you're all doing this project, but can we reach out to the city to see if that is possible?
We're trying to beat the timeline of being condemned.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we're doing it. So yeah, we can.
We're going to have some conversations.
Perfect, thank you.
Board, any further questions?
So are we going to?
Wait a minute, Mr. Murdoch, you had a question.
So with the amount of metal that's over there and the cost of recycling the metal, I figured we could recapture some of our funds just for the sale of the scrap that goes along with that.
We haven't had our conversation about that just as yet.
Tons of steel.
We've got a planned meeting about that. I wanted to know if the board would give us the authority to go ahead and do it.
Right.
And then we'll investigate all of those things, okay? We won't leave anything unturned. But we have been asked and encouraged, I'll say, to kind of get that. The reason why it keeps catching a fire is because it draws and attracts vagrants, if you will. And I don't know if that's the right term for it, but it attracts people, you know, late in the night, and crime and other kinds of things. God knows what else is happening there. So we really need to go ahead and clean that place up. It's a good piece of property for us to just hold on to, but we also need to kind of take advantage of any additional supports that the city or any agency, local agency is willing to help us with. But that's not off the table, okay? If we can do that, okay? That's not off the table.
Rick Helton said he wants to help with that. It's good to say.
So we make a motion to take action on this item, and then the district's going to mitigate.
I request that you take action on it. I'm asking the board to take action, and if there's any way that we can get any of that money back, great. I just don't want to slow this process down.
Right, so we're voting to take action on the property. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, board, any further questions? Okay, seek a motion.
So motion.
Okay,
Second.
okay, there you go. Mr. Hanks made a motion, seconded by Mr. Shafi. Discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we go to item K, approve purchase of flood insurance. Ms. Thompson.
Okay, I see that we're changing vendors. Who put this on here? Who am I talking to? Stacy. Hi, Stacy. I see that they're changing vendors. I just think our proximity to the bay, it is important that our stakeholders understand how much things cost. So do we have an approximate cost? I know this says not to exceed. Do we know what last year's cost was?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, it was under 150,000, but I'll find out and we can send it to the board. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And you're correct, it's just a change of vendors, and y'all approved it back in June.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because it's due every June, if is my recollection anyway. But it's just the expenses are just crazy. As we know as homeowners living here, but you can imagine what it is for a school district. So I wanted to know a direct number, but okay.
I will get that for you.
We can get that to you.
And we'll get that to you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, board, any further questions? Okay, if not, seek a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Sharp, you made a motion, seconded by Mr. Hanks. Is that correct?
Yes, sure.
Call for the vote. Okay, it's passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we go to item 10, action and or discussion items. A, adopt the resolution number 2022-02, order calling the May 6, 2023 general trustee election. Question, is that supposed to be 2023 or 2022?
It's for May 2023.
Okay. Should be number 2023-02.
Yes.
Apologize for that.
Okay, do we have anything, or we just,
I make a motion that we approve the resolution.
okay?
We can revise those numbers.
Yeah,
That's
Okay, Ms. Thompson made a motion to approve, adopt the resolution, excuse me.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Martin. Discussion? If not, call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Okay, thank you. We go to item 10B, adopt the resolution number 2023-03, order calling the May 6, 2023 bond election. Since we already had a presentation, we can seek a motion and then make a discussion, any comments or anything before the vote. So,
I'll make a motion.
okay.
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Thompson made a motion, seconded by Mr. Murdoch. Discussion?
I just want to say that, as you know, I appreciate the district for allowing, open those meetings to the public, allowing the board to attend. I had a chance to attend a lot of them. I know it was mentioned earlier, I think Deanne said it was an 18-month process. I know that we originally had hoped, you guys had hoped to put this on the ballot last May. So I really sincerely appreciate the extra diligence that went into slowing this down a year. I know people are like, it's never going to be perfect. The timing's never going to be exactly right. But I can say with all my heart that you guys put a lot of energy, effort, resource dedicated to this. I love that, I know the board, it's our job to call for this, to put it on the ballot. But I love that it's not up to us solely, that it's up to the public. We have people from both sides of the aisle come and talk for or against it tonight. I know we can't give our opinions on it just here, but I really sincerely appreciate the diligence that went into this, the hours that the committees, Mr. Matizak, Mr. Grunewalt, and all the others that took place into that. It took you from your families and your other obligations. And so, again, we appreciate all that went into it. So it's obvious that you guys are dedicated and passionate about our district and helping to improve it and make it better. And so I can, my personal stance is I feel comfortable. I would like to see it go forward to the public. I truly think it's a needed thing, but also I know that you guys need to get back to the day-to-day basis of running this district. This is a beast of a project, and I'm happy that it's now going to go to the public, and that hopefully it goes through. I guess I can say that, but that we can then go on to some even bigger and better things here in the next few months. So.
And if I may piggyback on that, there's already been a lot of conjecture, a lot of speculation, and the bond has just really been presented publicly today. And in the manner that it was presented today on both sides, in opposition or for, it was done respectfully. And I hope that this community rises above and continues that kind of conversation and dialogue, that we will be civil and something when you're spending this amount of money, it could easily be polarizing and divisive. And I think as a community, we're different, we're special, and I think we can have civil conversation whether we agree to disagree or not. But I would challenge everybody, find someone in opposition of your perspective, for or against, and get their perspective and see what you're missing in the context of this bond. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we're making decisions in the best interest of the children, our teachers, and this community. So, again, I appreciate the committee's 18-month commitment to doing this and for our presentation this evening.
So if I may, I had some real misgivings about the bond and was not going to support parts of it and stuff. And then I had to sit down and walk through, and yeah, so now I can put myself behind it. I think it's going to be a really good thing for LaPorte. I think it's going to be something that we can all be proud of. If we don't do anything, eventually that stadium's going to be condemned, and you won't have a field, you won't have a place to play football unless you go to Deer Park and borrow their stadium. But we need an icon here, and I think they're going in the right direction, and open my eyes. So it's something I can really get behind and support. So I appreciate that too.
And, sorry, you brought up a point, and I just want, our biggest charge now as a board is just to provide facts and give you information. And there's a great deal of information. Ms. Greenwald, you hit it on the head. School finance is extremely complicated, and there's just tons and tons of information to kind of decipher and go through. So if there's anything that we can do, please, I want to make my email address available to anybody. Please reach out to me 24/7, 365. And if I don't have the answer for you, I would definitely point you in the right direction. But this is where we have to come together as a community and have an exchange and fill in those gray areas, those missing parts, and that information that we may not truly have. And that's the only way you're going to make a good choice. Like I said, for or against, it doesn't matter, but have all the facts, because there is a lot of gaps in the information that's been discussed so far out publicly, and social media is one of those things that, a wild idea can run rampant very, very quick. So again, I just encourage everybody to reach out to the board. I just put all of y'all on, but certainly, I don't mind putting myself out there, and you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. I do agree that the walkthroughs are very, very eye-opening and beneficial for you to walk through the facilities and see where it's going. No one here is immune from the decisions that are made. We're all taxpayers, we're parents, we're vested in these communities too. Unlike a lot of our politicians that are exempt from the things that they pass down. We are affected by those things. So we're not going to do or make decisions lightly. And there's been given a great deal of thought and contemplation to arrive at this. But again, I appreciate everybody's time and being here. And again, the civility of everybody being so respectful in your comments today.
I'll say this, so in the committee meetings, this was hit time and time again. I don't know if it was mentioned tonight. If it was, I apologize. But the fact that these bonds, they're not subject to recapture. To David's soapbox point, all that money we pay, which is like number 4 in the state of Texas, we're in the $50 million range, whereas Deer Park is less than 10. This is will not be subject to recapture. And that is a huge deal of why we call for these bonds. And the fact that we can do this and not raise your tax rate, to me is that's a godsend, like dang near miracle, right? So appreciate all the work that went into that. And I want the board to understand that part of the reason we're pushing this is because we have to get creative on ways to keep our tax dollars here in this district.
Amen.
I will also say, Mr. President and Board, I hired Dr. Bromley in July, and he had hair.
I feel your pain.
Poor Dustin.
So this has been a tough process, is what I'm trying to say. I'd like to publicly thank, and not just Dr. Bromley, but I'd like to certainly publicly thank Dr. Bromley for helping to come in and fill in so many of the gaps and helping us to take this to the next level. But along with, everybody here has thanked the committee, but I'd like to personally thank the committee for your commitment and your time, and the visits and getting on those buses and going to campuses and doing those things. We really sincerely appreciate the process. We have to trust the process, and your commitment to that says a whole lot about this community and your care and your love for this community. So cheers to you, and thank you so much for that. And again, thank you to this board, regardless of how we go. But thank you to this board. A year ago, the board had to kind of sit me down and say, look, slow down, stop. And I appreciate that, because I think had we kept going like that, we probably wouldn't be where we are today, with a comprehensive plan and a thorough plan as we have. So thank you, board, for having to slow down a new superintendent that had some ideas, along with what the community was beginning to start talking about. But I want this community to know that we are going to, if this were to be called and these bonds were to pass, we're going to do exactly what it is that we talked about for the last year or so. We want to be trustworthy, and we want to be excellent stewards of what this community has given us stewardship over.
As a business owner and a mom of students here in the district, being new to the board last year, we were again jumping into a bond, and I was grateful for the time to be able to really learn a little bit more about what we were trying to do for the students, and also learn about it from a business perspective as well. Our business is students. Our business is what we can do for them and bettering their future. So every decision that we make, putting this out there, everything is to build the best for the students with regards to their education. So I was grateful for the extra time put into it, and for the committee members who stayed on that extra time, so that I could learn how we could help those students as well. So thank you, all of you.
Board, any further comments before I make mine? First of all, I want to once again just appreciate the hard work of all the individuals on the bond committee for taking out time out of your personal lives to devote to the future of our students in this district. Like Mr. Murdoch, I was concerned about a couple of items, one being the Professional Development Center. But after sitting down and looking at the details, seeing how it would provide professional instruction, a venue for professional instruction for our teachers, much larger than what could be had in the like here in the boardroom or even in our ITC building. I think our teachers deserve a place where they can interact, collaborate, and hone in their best practices for the benefits of our students. Also too, it will also provide equitable restrooms for our female athletes. And I believe that is a need, not a want. And then also too, as far as the stadium, I've had my reservations about the stadium as well. And I come down to this point is the cost of things are not going down. If you're a coffee drinker, when's the last time you got a cup of coffee for 5 cents? What, 1950? I don't know. But inflation has gone up, okay? And that's going to kind of been the stoke of life as far as the economy in the course of our history. And with inflation going up as high as it is, I think it's a prudent decision to go ahead and now, because that building is 64, 65 years old. It's not getting any younger. I've had complaints from the public about how it is not ADA compliant. I think, and I applaud the staff for looking into all the different issues with our current facilities and and how we could address each of those concerns. And I appreciate, once again, the hard work of the committee and what y'all did. And one thing that's different about this bond compared to the one in 2014 is this does not raise the tax rate. And so I applaud everyone to looking into that and be able to accomplish that and have that presented to the board in that fashion. So I appreciate everyone's hard work in that matter. And that's all I have. If anybody else has anything further to say. Okay, we had a motion and a second. So without further ado, call for the vote. And it's unanimous, 7-0. Thank you. Item 11, action on closed session items. I don't think we have any. So we go to item 12, closing comments of the Board of Trustees and Superintendent. A, attendance of recent district and community events. B, announcement of upcoming district and community events. C, outstanding performance by district staff and students.
I got one thing to say. This guy gets a lot of talk here about in this section right here. Keith Wilson over at LaPorte Junior High does a lot for that school. And today they delivered over to my school over in Deer Park at Fairmont Junior High a bunch of supplies for the tornado victims that we're doing over there, making little bags and stuff. So he drove it all over there and brought it to us, and continuing to do good things to make LaPorte look good. So kudos to Keith Wilson over there at LaPorte Junior High.
Yes, he's a class act. Last group we did the finance down at BAM. Musical obviously ended. It's a long-standing tradition, and it was just as fantastic as the previous 56 versions. Great cast. Multiple organizations and groups were recognized and participated, and I will go on record saying that it is one of the best experiences at the high school. There was a tremendous, long-lasting impression it made on my life in terms of work ethic, cooperation, prioritization, sacrifice. There's just so many qualities that come from that program, not to mention, the end result, which was awesome. The decathlon team, I know they're going to state. Our drumline, they were second runner-up, or first runner-up at their drumline competition at North Shore. The robotics program that you spoke of, that's amazing. And then our girls are going to the playoffs in basketball. They just had their senior night, which is why Dr. Jackson wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting. His daughter was a senior this year, and they're doing fantastic. They're fun to watch. I would urge everybody to go do that. And last but not least, I just want to, we kind of glanced over it, but we just hired 2 new team members and brought 2 new people to our family, Miss Weekly and Mr. Echeverria. If I murdered it, I apologize. But our ROTC position and a SPED teacher, and so welcome to our family. We're glad to have you aboard.
I wanted to say one of the most amazing things to me is that Dr. Jackson is a parent in this district, and that was such a blessing for us to him to tell us, I've got to go to senior night. So I just wanted to say, we have the advantage of having Dr. Jackson not only as our leader in the district, but to be a parent, to get that experience as well. And I just want to tell him thank you for going and doing what you needed to do with your family, because that is important. Yes. And we will always want you to do that. So, yeah.
I got to plug my friend Frank since he left the audience like 5 minutes ago. So we mentioned his work with HELP. He does a lot of things here, but the HELP. So last week he had 44 mentors signed up, and he held an event in our office and got another 12 commitments last week. So, and it's a real thing for him because he was like a giddy little school kid. He's so excited that people are signing up for that, and a lot of people in this room go each week and donate an hour of your time to make that. I was really preaching to the choir. A lot of you guys make that possible, so thank you for that. That is something that his heart is 100% invested into. So we really do, wherever you are, Frank, at the bar, wherever it is, we appreciate all you're doing, and this is on public record, me saying that. So, thank you.
Board, any further?
I'm not saying nothing.
Real quickly, If you did not get a chance to see the High School Musical, another year of fabulous performance. I'd say if you, between the Alley Theater and our high school musical students, I'll tell you right now, our high school students in every way are superb and professional, and I think could be any performance given at the Alley Theater. No offense to the performers at the Alley Theater, but they are excellent, and so full of talent. And also too, just wanted to remind the board the upcoming governance camp is going to be held in Galveston from March 1st to the 4th. So I highly encourage y'all to register and get some training hours. And if you're interested in going, please see Candace and get you squared away with that.
For anybody who's never been to that particular one, that one focuses a lot on student voice. So there's a lot of student presenters that will be talking about programs from their districts. There's a lot of student performances. It's just a really neat, it's a smaller venue. You know, it's at the Moody whatever center thing down there in Galveston, and it's just a really neat environment. A lot of the classes are about different governance topics, but I love how much they involve the students. And I think y'all enjoy it if you can break away from your work for a day or two to go. It's really nice.
Okay. With that being said, if there's no further, we adjourn at 9:16 p.m.